Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum Hazrat. I've heard from one Sunni scholar that he has said that it's not allowed to say Allah Hafiz and Khuda Hafiz, as no Sahaba has ever said that.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. There is no harm in saying Allah Hafiz and Khuda Hafiz. There is no evidence to suggest that it's not permissible. The meaning of both the compounds Allah Hafiz is Allah is protector, and Khuda Hafiz also means Allah is protector. They are both valid in meaning, and there is no harm in using them. To say that none of the Sahaba Kiram said that, that is not any evidence to suggest that something is impermissible in Islam. The Sahaba Kiram did not say many things. Merely because they didn't say them does not make it impermissible. For example, we have cars today. None of the Sahaba Kiram call them cars. Does that mean it's impermissible for us to call these instruments or vehicles cars? None of the Sahaba Kiram spoke the English language. Does that mean it's not permissible to speak the English language? None of the Sahaba Kiram spoke French, German, Dutch, etc. Does that mean all these languages are not permissible? The Sahaba Kiram did not study the knowledge of Nahw and Sarf. Does that mean to study those knowledges is not permissible? The Sahaba Kiram did not study medical science. They didn't study British law. They didn't study accountancy and many other things. It does not mean that it is not permissible. As long as it does not go against the Sharia, or it does not promote anything against the beliefs of Islam, there is no harm in using that. Wallahu alam bis-sawab.
Can a Hanafi pray behind such a Shafi'i who has less than a fistful beard? Please explain the noble Sharia's ruling in details.
It depends whether the Imam shortens the beard or is the beard just less than a fist. So if he cuts the beard less than a fist, then according to the Hanafi madhab, that salah will be wajibul i'ada. Because the Hanafi madhab clearly says كَكُلُّ صَلَاةٍ أُدِّيَتْ مَعَ كَرَاهَةِ التَّحْرِيمِ تَجِبُ إِعَادَتُهَا, which means that every salah which has been performed with something that is makruh tahrimi, something that is impermissible, that salah will be wajib to repeat. Therefore, according to the Hanafi Muqtadi, the namaz that has been performed with anything that is makruh tahrimi according to him, and the Imam adopts that in that salah, then that salah will be wajibul i'ada for the Hanafi Muslim. Yani what that means is that the fard will be fulfilled, however it will be wajib for him to repeat it. In the books of fiqh, like in Bahari Shariat in reference to Fatawa Alamgiri, Gunya and to Raddul Muhtar, it says that the Shafi'i Imam or any other madhab like a Hanbali or a Maliki, if a Hanafi Muqtadi wants to perform salah behind him, the Imam must be someone who caters for the Hanafi madhab. Yani he fulfills the conditions of purity, tahara, ablution, ghusl and cleanliness, etc., the sharait of salah, and like that he must not adopt anything in his salah that would render the salah invalid according to the Hanafi. So if he did something which invalidates the salah, then that will be, although it's not invalid according to his madhab, it's invalid according to the Hanafi madhab, then the Muqtadi that is Hanafi, his salah will be invalid. Like that, if there is something that is makruh tahrimi in the Hanafi madhab and he adopts that in his salah, then that salah will be wajibul i'ada for the Hanafi. So according to the Hanafi madhab, the one fist beard, which is known as the Qadr Masnoon, which has been mentioned in the books of fiqh as Al Qadrul Masnoon, is wajib. And many scholars have mistaken, contemporary scholars have mistakenly understood the word masnoon to mean that the one fist beard is sunnah, not wajib, because the word masnoon is used, and masnoon is made from the word sunnah. So there is Ghulam Rasul Saidi Sahab, he's passed away, may Allah shower his grave with mercy, but he has understood that the books of Hanafi fiqh, all of them say al-qadrul masnoon, and masnoon is sunnah. Nobody has said it's wajib. However, it's a misunderstanding of the text of fiqh books. Ala Hazrat Imam Ahmad Raza radiyallahu ta'ala and Shaykh Muhaqqiq, Shaykh Abdul Haq Muhaddis Dahalvi and other ulama kiram have made it clear that the qadr masnoon means that amount which is proven from the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what qadr masnoon means. And the qarina, yani that which is mentioned after it, clearly says that none of the scholars lam yubihu ahadun, yani al-aqdu min al-qadr al-masnoon, to cut less than the sunnah amount. None of the scholars have permitted it. Yani it's impermissible to cut the beard shorter than the sunnah amount. And what is that sunnah amount? Al-qubda, one fist. So according to the Hanafi madhab, it is wajib, and someone who does not, who cuts their beard less than a fist is a fasiq, and it's alal i'lan because it's openly visible. So he is a fasiq mu'lin, if it is visible that he cuts it more than less than a fist. And if it is a Shafi imam, he may not be sinful in his school of thought. However, when he leads the salah will be makruh tahrimi according to the Hanafi muqtadi. Therefore, it is not permissible for a Hanafi muqtadi to perform salah behind an imam of another madhab who cuts his beard less than a fist. If his beard is naturally like that, he doesn't cut it, it's just less than a fist, then there's no harm. Whether it's a Shafi or a Hanafi, such an imam is one that fulfills the conditions of the Sharia. All the other conditions, if he fulfills of imamah, then there's no harm in performing salah behind him. Wallahu a'lam bis-sawab.
When we say fistful, how do you measure fistful? Is it directly below the chin? Is it on the sides?
Min asfali dhaqan, which means from the lowest part of the chin. Okay, someone asked Huzur Muhaddis Kabir once that where do you measure the beard from, and he said from here. He said the beard is here, so obviously you measure it from here. So you've got to make sure it's one fist here, the hair should be. So it's got to be one fist from the lowest part of the chin. And it's in the length. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised to lengthen the beard. And a fairly amr from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-amr lil wujub. A command of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes for wujub, and it makes something wajib. So if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has ordered something, then it does become wajib, unless there is clear mentioning after or before in another narration which shows that it's not wajib. So to lengthen the beard is wajib according to the hadith. And another sign of something being wajib in Sharia is that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam never abandoned it. He never abandoned it, and that also proves something to be wajib. So that's why many a times he sallallahu alaihi wasallam would abandon an act. He would miss it on purpose, merely so that people don't think that that is wajib. And that's when we call it sunnah muakkada, that he missed it due to a specific valid reason. Or sunnah ghair muakkada, he would miss them salah so that people don't think they are wajib. So the Wahhabis from this take that it's wajib to lengthen the beard, you need to leave it, so they don't cut it at all. So according to them, you let it grow, and it grows all the way to their knees maybe. And the Hanafi position is that the action of a Sahabi of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if a Sahabi does something, it does prove it to be permissible. And there is a narration about Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu ta'ala, and that after he performed Hajjah wa i'tamara, he either performed Hajj or he performed Umrah, one of the two. And after that he held his beard in his fist and cut that which was below it. And that tells us that it's wajib to lengthen the beard, and once it grows to past one fist, then it's sunnah to cut it. And that's another text that many of the contemporary scholars misunderstand, which is that the the Hanafi scholars have said that it's sunnah to cut the beard after it has lengthened to a fist. So because it's sunnah to cut it, they say that means that it's not wajib, it's sunnah. One fist is wajib. One fist is sunnah. It says here, look, it's sunnah to cut it. That's not the case. It's wajib to lengthen it to a fist. It's sunnah to cut it after it has grown in excess of a fist. That's what the Hanafi madhab is, and that's what Ala Hazrat Imam Ahmad Raza has explained in his book I'fa'ul Luha.
So what about the sides?
The sides of the beard, it doesn't necessarily have to be one fist everywhere on the sides. Although there are some scholars who believe that it should be a fist everywhere, which is not what the Hanafi madhab says. There is a hadith that in which the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala that how good would it be if your father Abu Quhafa took from the sides of his beard. Then the sides of his beard were grown out too much. So any hair that is excess on the outside or it's against it looking presentable, then there's no harm in taking from the sides. Wallahu alam bis-sawab.
What is the origin of the first Kalima Sharif? Is it from Quran or Hadith? What is the permissibility of adding something to the end of the Kalima, i.e. as the Shia have done?
Of course, the origin of the Kalima is the Quran. The Quran has taught us that there is none worthy of worship but Allah, and not to commit shirk. And the Quran has taught us that Muhammadur Rasulullah, Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. So of course the origin of the Kalima is the Quran. And after that the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, several ahadith in the books of hadith, in the chapters of Iman, mentioned, he sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned the Kalima. Man qala la ilaha illallah dakhala al-jannah. Whosoever said la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, he has entered Jannah. And that is the Kalima. That's what makes a person a Muslim. And that's what's required for him to speak from his tongue in order for the people to accept the person as a Muslim. And to believe that firmly in his heart, that's what makes an individual a Muslim. And then to ensure that he doesn't do anything against it. That's what makes an individual a Muslim. And he will remain a Muslim so long as he does not do anything against the Kalima. Now, the addition at the end of the Kalima, I mean, an individual may add whatever he wants, so long as he does not believe that to be the requirement, as in the Kalima of Islam. He may add that وَأَبُو بَكْرٍ أَفْضَلُ الْأُمَّةِ بَعْدَ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ وَالرُّسُلِ, or وَعَائِشَةُ بَرِيئَةٌ وَطَاهِرَةٌ. He may add whatever he wants. However, to make that and to believe that to be a required part of the Kalima, that is bid'ah. That is certainly a bid'ah. As long as there's nothing of kufr and shirk in there or misguidance, we won't call the person a kafir, or we won't call him a misguided individual. However, he is someone who commits bid'ah. If someone was to, for example, say that La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah wa Aliyun awwalul khulafa, or afdalus sahaba, then yes, we would say that he is a tafdili, he is a misguided individual. So if there's additions like that, then that can be misguidance. Additions can be kufr and shirk, and sometimes they may just be bid'ah, and sometimes they may just be permissible. There's no harm, so long as the individual does not believe that this is part of the Kalima. Wallahu alam bis-sawab. As for Iman, then I've mentioned this before, that Iman is to accept and believe everything that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought with him. That's what Iman is. As the definition of Iman is al-imanu bi kulli ma ja'a bihi an-nabiy sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To believe in everything that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought from Allah. That is what Iman is. Wallahu a'lam bis-sawab.
Can you please provide a Shari'i definition of what a Sulah Kulli is, and who these people are, and how do we avoid becoming or falling into this deviance?
Sulh means to resolve or to join and unite and Kull means all. So Sulh Kull is someone who believes that everyone should unite. And that's what a Sulh Kulli is. A Sulh Kulli is an individual who believes in perennialism. That's what perennialism is to believe all schools of the deviants and Wahhabi, Shias, the Christians, the Jews, the Hindus, the Buddhists, everyone is good. All religions are good, they will all go to heaven. That's what Sulh Kulli is. Sulh Kulli can be within Islam. The Prophet Muhammad said that there will be 73 different sects, 73 firqa, and all of them, kulluhum finnar, all of them will remain in the fire of hell forever, illa wahida, besides one group. That's what he ﷺ said. One group will be separated for Jannah, the rest of them will go to Jahannam. But a Sulh Kulli within Islam, he says, no, Ya Rasulullah, we will not accept what you're saying. All of us will go to Jannah. Completely in contradiction to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. That's what a Sulh Kulli is. Someone who believes the Shia are good, the Deobandis are good, the Wahhabis are good, the Ahl Hadith are good, the Ghair Muqallideen are good, the Qadianis are good. That's what a Sulh Kulli is. Someone who believes everyone is good, we should all unite together, we're all on the same path to Medina, Allah is pleased with us all, the Prophet ﷺ is pleased with us all, al-ayadhu billah. Someone who calls the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ equivalent to madmen, animals, and like dogs and pigs and monkeys, al-ayadhu billah, we cannot unite with that individual. A Sulh Kulli allows that. Someone who, ma'azallah, says that Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha is an adulterer, al-ayadhu billah. Our mother, Sayyidah Aisha, the pure, and she is the one for whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down a verse from the Quran to say that she is pak and pure and free from this accusation. Yet these people still slander and say she is a zaniya. We can't unite with these people. A Sulh Kulli does unite with these people. Those people who swear at Sayyiduna Abu Bakr and Sayyiduna Umar radiallahu anhum, we can't unite with them. But these Sulh Kulli is someone who says, no, we're all together, we're all one. So a Sulh Kulli is someone who has become a murtad, he has become a kafir. And the way to abstain from these people is anyone who believes or has a soft spot towards the other sects, the Shia, Deobandi, Wahhabi, etc., Qadianis. You should stay away from them. Stay in the company of those people who have staunch and strong beliefs, and they are firm upon the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And if you enjoy the company of people who are not, then you are exposing yourself to potentially becoming a Sulh Kulli. May Allah protect us all, and may Allah keep us firm on the way of the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ advised in his hadith, in several hadiths, so did the Sahaba Kiram. And the Sahaba Kiram actually said that we used to bequest our children to follow this advice. What was this advice? He ﷺ said regarding the people that are misguided and deviant, he said, do not sit with them, do not eat with them, do not drink with them, do not say salam to them, do not respond to their salam. If they say assalamu alaikum, don't say wa alaikum assalam to them. Do not do nikah with them, don't perform salah with them, yani don't even be their imam, don't pray behind them, don't pray salah with them. These are, when they become sick, don't go to visit them. When they die, don't go to pray their janazah. This is what Rasulullah ﷺ said. So stay away from deviance and stay amongst the pious people, enjoy the company of the good. That's the Quran said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wa kunu ma'as sadiqin. All those who have believed, have iman, fear Allah and enjoy the company of the truthful ones. That's how you protect yourself from Sulh Kulliyat. Wallahu a'lam bis-sawab.
So if someone says that they don't necessarily say that everyone should unite, but they are lenient in terms of dealings with deviants, would it be correct in that situation to call such a person a Sulh Kulli, with only if they specifically say that
Sulh Kulli is someone who is willing to unite with them. He is willing to unite with them even if he accepts that they are wrong, and yet he still wants to do sulh with them, and resolve all differences and matters, then he's still a sulah kulli, even though he accepts that they have faults. So he's still doing sulah with them. If he's merely lenient towards them, like he meets them when he sees them, smiles at them, and he sits to eat with them, then he is a fasiq. He may say that I don't do sulah with them, they are separate to me, I have my beliefs. So he's not doing sulah, but he is still a sinful person for going against the hukum of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But we wouldn't call an individual like that a sulah kulli. Wallahu alam bis-sawab.
Any questions from audience?
Would you be able to tell us some of the benefits of reciting the Dalail al-Khairat, whether it's daily or weekly, keep it up consistently as well?
Dalailul Khairat Sharif of Imam Jazuli is a very renowned wazifa with that all the great scholars that I have known have always adhered to, they've recited it and they've accepted it. It's something that the ulama say that this is a compilation of salutations upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which he sallallahu alaihi wasallam has himself accepted. And the ulama say that it brings all blessings in your life, in your household, upon your family, whatever intention you recite it with, your intention will be fulfilled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It brings you wealth, it brings you rizq, it brings you protection from all calamities and difficulties, and it's something known as iklil, yani it fulfills all your purposes. There is everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may provide you can be received through the recitation of Dalailul Khairat Sharif. And there are many benefits of it. It's also said that it has the Ism Azam in there of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's Dalailul Khairat Sharif is a huge blessing to this ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Imam Jazuli radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Wallahu alam bis-sawab.
If a person has adopted a male orphan child from hospital, when the child becomes adult or baligh, then is that child mahram or non-mahram for the wife of that person?
A child that has been fostered or adopted, and the term adopted, I think, generally means where the child takes the name of the family of the person who's adopted the child, and that doesn't happen in Islam. What does happen in Islam is, if we just take the term adopted without looking at its legal matters in the UK, to adopt a child, yani to take a child into your family, is the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is a very rewarding act. However, the child will not become a mahram for the women of that household. And that's what the verse of the Quran, مَا كَانَ مُحَمَّدٌ أَبَا أَحَدٍ مِّن رِجَالِكُمْ, was sent down for. In Surah Ahzab, is it verse number 40. The verse is saying that مَا كَانَ Muhammad is not أَبَا أَحَدٍ مِّن رِجَالِكُمْ, not the father, he is not, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not the father of any of you men. He is not the father of any of you men. And this verse was specifically sent down for Sayyiduna Zaid, because Sayyiduna Zaid was one that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam adopted, or fostered. Adopted, fostered, I'm not sure which term is more suitable. But he sallallahu alaihi wasallam took him as his son. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down the verse that Muhammad is not the father of any of you men. So yes, Sayyiduna Abdullah, Sayyiduna Ibrahim, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's 4 sons, they did not live to become men, where they would be called men, rijal. So Allah sent down this verse that he's not the father of any one of you. So Sayyiduna Zaid, although he was taken in by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was a mutabanni. That's the word. Tabanna means to adopt. Mutabanni of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but not the father. So he can't call himself Zaid bin Muhammad. Like that, if you take a child in, the child will not adopt your name. the child will keep his original name, and the women of that household will not become a mahram. They will still remain ghair mahram, because to become a mahram there has to be one of the reasons, such as the muharramat bin nasab, due to your nasab, your family lineage. There may be maharim like your sisters, your mother, your daughters, your brother's daughters or your sister's daughters. They are your maharim through nasab, through lineage. And then there are mahramat bil musahara. Bil musahara means through your wife. Through your wife you have maharim, so her mother, her grandmother, her daughter, if she has another daughter from another husband, her daughters, they will be haram upon you. That's because of musahara, because of your wife. Like that, there's hurma bil milk. Milk means you own a slave, for example. Then there is hurma bil adad, yani you've got 4 wives. To add another one is haram. And so that's hurma, it's haram. They are haram upon you. Then it's hurma due to someone else, bihaqqil ghayr, due to the right of another. So there are women in your household that are haram upon you. There are women in the household of your wife that are haram upon you. There are women that are in excess to your 4 wives that are haram upon you because you can't get married to another. Or there are women that are haram upon you because they already belong to someone else. They belong in the marital relationship of another man. So they are haram. These are the reasons why a woman may become haram upon you. And tabanna, to adopt a child, foster a child, that doesn't fall into those categories. So the answer is that the wife of the man who's adopted this child will not become a mahram of this child when he becomes older. Wallahu a'lam bis-sawab.
The child is breastfed.
Yes, however, if the child is breastfed, then that is also one of the reasons of hurma bil rada'a, which I missed out. So hurma bil rada'a is if there is a boy or a girl that have drunk the milk of the same woman, then they are haram for each other. So that will make them a mahram. So if a man has taken a child in his household and the child is still within the years of rada'a, which is 2 years, it's permissible for a mother to feed a child from the breast, or a woman to feed a child. However, it will continue. If she does feed a child for more than 2 years, then it's not permissible. However, if it's 2 years and 6 months, within the 6 months after the 2 years, she does feed a child, and that child will become haram for her. Hurma bil rada'a will be proven, although it was impermissible. But after that, there is no hurma bil rada'a. So if someone was to have a cup of tea, for example, from a woman's milk, that would not establish hurma bil rada'a in the Hanafi madhab. Tika? If a woman was to extract the milk from her breast into a cup and an adult was to drink that, he would not become haram for her. That's in the Hanafi madhab. In the other madhahib, it will still cause hurma bil rada'a. And that used to be a common practice amongst the Shafis. When a Shafi student would want to study from a female scholar, like Sayyida Nafisa radiallahu anha, a great female scholar of Egypt. Well, she moved to Egypt. She's a teacher of Sayyidina Imam Shafi radiallahu anhu. What they used to do is they would drink some of the milk of that woman, and then she would become the mother by way of rada'a. In the Hanafi madhab, that doesn't occur after 2 years or 2 years and 6 months. Wallahu a'lam bis-sawab. Any more questions? Jazakumullahu khaira. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد معدن الجود والكرم وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمد معدن الجود والكرم وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.